So in the past 12 months, I glowed up like crazy. Like I really changed my physical appearance, my social skills, my aura. You probably click this video because you want something similar as well. You want to look more attractive to the opposite sex. You want to be more desirable. You want to absolutely mug people. I understand that because for me, I wanted to feel powerful. I wanted to feel desirable. I wanted to feel attractive. I wanted to almost feel gravitational. You want that abundance with attractive girls. You want to open your Instagram message and just see in your inbox, there's 5 of them that are messaging you, that want to see you, and you just have to choose the one that you want the most. That's sort of the picture that I envision and I sort of want to give you in this video. Now, before I tell you the exact frameworks, mindsets, philosophies, the practical advice to actually be able to attract more girls into life, to actually glow up, I want to tell you exactly what I started. When I first started out, I was honestly quite skinny. I didn't look the best. I didn't have so-called aura. Hey, yo! I wasn't starting off in a good position. So I saw the self-improvement content and I started watching Hamza. I started getting to building muscle, building my aesthetic physique, and I felt a little bit more confident, but for some reason, still my problem wasn't fixed of attracting girls. Yeah, I glowed up, I looked better, but where the girls at? I got the aesthetic physique, where the girls at, you know? When it comes to attracting girls, glowing up, changing your life, and really becoming more attractive, there are actually certain constraints, which is the reason why you are not attractive, to begin with. So let's get straight into explaining all the beliefs, the mindset, philosophies on how to solve this problem, how to become more attractive. So basically, of course, you understand my story arc where I was really skinny, I got a bit shredded, I still wasn't pulling girls, I was actually repelling a lot of girls, and I had an aesthetic physique, but then I was wondering where the girls at, you know, and I didn't realize there were actually certain constraints in my life, you know. So I got the health down because health is basically your looks, and looks is basically your health. If you're healthy, your testosterone's optimized, you're living a healthy lifestyle, that will impact your looks dramatically. So my health was good. I was working on something wealth-wise. I was doing okay. The thing is as well, there were people uglier than me. There were people with who are more nerdier, more deficient in me, getting more quality relationships in their life, quality girls, and having more success than me. And so I was sort of lost. I was dumbfounded. I was like, bro, what the fuck? I've been working so hard on myself, and for some reason I wasn't able to attract girls into my life, and that's because I didn't notice there were certain constraints. So a lot of guys, they're really working on themselves, their product development, which is who you are, and the marketing is basically going on dating apps, Instagram, approaching girls. You're basically marketing yourself. So a lot of guys right now, they've worked on themselves, on their physicality a lot, but for some reason their relationships, they're lacking. It's because they're actually not going out, they're actually not meeting people. And I'm going to cover these 3 things right now, because as well as everything interlinks, man. If you just have health and looks, there are other areas in your life that are sort of constraining you, like your wealth, your relationships. If you have your health down, your wealth down, but your relationships are seriously lacking, then these things interlinked with each other. You know, relationships affect how much money you make, because your ability to network and have certain people around you would affect your wealth, and the amount of money you will make will give you more freedom to work on your health. But then your health will also affect how well you feel in order to work. So everything is interlinked, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. So understand that it's not just looks that's constraining you. There's multitude of things that are constraining you, like your aura, your physicality, your aesthetic, your routine, your schedules, your environment, the people you're around, whether you're actually going out and meeting people and approaching, or whether you're using dating apps and Instagram. There are sort of many things that are constraining you, but I really just want to focus on the product development, the self, which is the thing that everyone's telling you to look smacks. Everyone's telling you to work on yourself, but how do you actually work on yourself in a way that's conducive to becoming more attractive and actually getting girls into your life? So there's 3 things I really want to cover here. The first thing is your aura. I think this is really the really key and integral you need to understand, because a lot of people in this space right now, and I used to be it, we were basically creating artificial shells of masculine and feminine. So what does this mean? You have to understand masculinity, femininity, because this is so key to understanding relationship dynamics, how they basically work together. How do males and females work together in order to form relationships, and understanding how males behave, understanding how females behave. And when you can understand how both sides behave, you can sort of position yourself to be the best in that space. Now you have to understand that who we are, we have an authentic self. We have a sort of a certain masculine polarity, maybe we're 60% masculine and 40% feminine, or we're 70% masculine or 30% feminine, right? So that we have different sort of scales. We're not just 100%, or we're not just 0%. It's not black and white. It's sort of, there's scales to it. The problem with most guys, I'll go play this thing by David Dieter, but most guys are artificially making themselves more masculine than they actually are.
If you find yourself forcing yourself to be more masculine in order to attract a more feminine person, I'm not sure that's going to work, because everyone has a kind of natural. Now, what you're bringing up is something that I sometimes refer to as shells, like false shells. So if in fact, so let's say I have a more masculine body, but let's say my father was an alcoholic, and when I was being raised by my alcoholic father, I had to kind of soften my body around him or he'd hit me. Let's say, so now I kind of I falsely feminized so my actual body, if my father hadn't done that to me, would have looked like this. But because I was raised by a disturbed father, emotionally disturbed father, say he's an alcoholic, so he's angry and hitting me if I threatened him, and if I stood up tall, I threatened him as a child, so I always had to kind of soften myself. So now I'm going through life, I've trained my body to be soft. So now, this is more towards your question, now you meet a woman, let's say, only a woman attracted to a softer body is going to be attracted to you, but that's a false body. So you're going to want her attracted to a hard body, like you're going to be going, I want a woman who wants a hard body, which means they have a soft body. But they won't manifest, because the only ones who are going to manifest are hard-bodied women, because they're the reciprocal of your soft body. Then, yes, you then have to go, that's a shell, that's not my authentic. My feminine mind is my authentic mind, that's how it is. But it's easy to have acquired damage, acquired shells, like false feminization, false masculinization, layers of false masculine feminization. Lots of women have had their heart hurt and they feel, I don't want to do that again, I'm going to take care of myself.
We are artificially making ourselves more feminine or more masculine. We're basically overcompensating. And this can happen in both ways. You could be artificially behave more feminine. It could also go the other way, where I used to watch a lot of these red pill content, and for me, I was really overcompensating. I thought I have to be a bit more masculine, I have to be more dominant, I have to be cold and mean. So there are certain there's a certain percentage of masculine and feminine that you're at, and you have to understand where you're overcompensating or where your trauma or certain experiences is affecting you. And the reason why this is a problem, having these shells, is basically they don't allow people to really connect with the true version of yourself, the real version of yourself. The reason why you're struggling with anxiety, social anxiety and stuff, because you're not being yourself. To summarize everything, you're not being yourself. This is what being yourself actually looks like. Being yourself when it comes to how masculine you are, how feminine you are, where you are in the polarity. Because naturally you want to say things. Naturally you want to say that joke. Naturally you want to behave in a certain way, right? You have a natural inclination to behave in a certain way, and that's who you truly are. So you have to understand, you have to strip the layers, the mask, and the things which are preventing you from being your true self. And how you really realize that is you have to talk to more people. This is why you have to also build a popping social life. To build a social circle is because when you're surrounded by lots of people, you start to be comfortable in these social environments, and you also start to realize where you're sort of socially being a retard, because after high school, for me, I basically stopped going out, and I didn't have sort of that feedback to be able to say, okay, yo, where am I fucking up? Where am I actually overcompensating? In school, I was being an absolute jester, and I was really overcompensating to get more attention, or after school, and I was getting into the Andrew Tate, the red pill space, I started to become really cold, really mean, really trying to be ultra dominant, and I was really overcompensating. As you talk to more people, you will notice the certain shells that you are putting on in order to appear cool, in order to appear safe, and in order to appear like you know what you're doing. So you have to understand that vulnerability, being your authentic self, is actually a real thing, and it actually helps you be more true and attracts more of the people. It gives you that aura, it gives you that sense of calmness and tranquility, knowing that who you are is enough. Because a lot of you guys are thinking that the real you is not enough, and you have to change that. You have to change your interests. You have to be ultra masculine. You have to behave in certain ways which do not align to you, when in actual fact you don't have to. So understand your aura, understand your deepest core and who you actually are. Start exposing yourself to more people. Build a popping social life. And you start to notice the certain layers and shells that you're sort of behaving, which are stopping you from connecting with people. Which basically anything that you do in order to protect your sense of identity, to protect yourself from getting hurt, or to protect yourself from getting rejected. Because if you can't be yourself, then no one can really connect with the real you, and it's sort of hard to connect with people. So understand this is really important, because when you're going to out and meet people, especially you're meeting girls can sniff it when you're faking. Girls have very strong emotional intelligence, and they know when you're faking it. They know when you're sort of putting on that mask. They know when you're gesturing, bro. The next thing is your physicality, is your looks holding back. Because I don't want to say yo, if you looks max and shit like that, you get all the girls, because it's not true. You when you meet people, if your aura is bad, if you have bad energy, if you're not being yourself, if you don't feel good, if you're faking it and you're trying to do these weird power plays, that's going to affect the relationship between you and girls, and also not just girls, but people in general. So, but your physicality and how you look does matter, because you're going to be going on Instagram, you're going to be using dating apps, and that's going to impact sort of the matches you get and how people perceive you, because the only way that people can judge you, especially on a dating apps, is through your looks or your social proof. So social proof is basically like the proof that you're around other people that are influential. If I'm best friends with Drake and I took a photo with Drake, that's basically proof that I'm a very like high status individual and I have some sort of power. It's hard to really communicate your value, especially when socializing is out of the picture in dating apps and Instagram. So you have to communicate your value through your looks, through the people you know, and through your competency and your basically the unique things that you work on. If you're a videographer, show off your lifestyle doing videography. If you make computers, show off the computer you've made and you working in the workshop. You have to show like competency, and your looks basically are a big part of getting matches and how people judge you on Instagram. So there's two things you really need to work on. It's basically your body, which is basically getting down to a low body fat percentage while being shredded. If you're fat as fuck, then of course you have to slowly cut while building muscle. If you're skinny as fuck, then of course you lean bulk and you just eat a bunch of rice, eggs, avocado, steaks, get enough protein and get to 15% body fat while getting shredded as fuck. So yeah, because when you're low body fat percentage, of course your face looks leaner. I don't teach the thumb pulling shit. I don't teach that. You don't have to do that. It's not 80-20. It's not like will give you a massive return on investment. You're optimizing for 1% improvements. If you improve your aura, your aesthetic, your physicality, you work on your wealth, you work on the things around you, you really take a holistic approach to life. You don't have to get to 77% body fat, get absolutely shredded, become the best looks maxing dude in the place and mog everyone. You don't have to do that. Just become well-rounded. And then your hairstyle. Go on Pinterest, find a hairstyle that suits you. I found a hairstyle that suits me, but you have to find a hairstyle that suits you. And you can just go on Pinterest and you just go to the barber and just show them, I want this hairstyle. And then they'll ask you some questions. And you're like, what do you think? Do what you think is best. Get the barber to customize your hair and to do the recommendations. And yeah. And your aesthetic. This is like your style, your fashion, the vibe you give off, what you do. The reason why I cover aesthetic, style, fashion, and all this stuff is because you're going to be exposing yourself in person to girls, as well as you're going to be online as well. You're going to be on social media. You're going to be on dating apps. Girls are going to see you. And they're going to see the vibe you give off, the demeanor you give off. And you want to become that person. You want to become the person that you've always wanted to become. And this is like through your Instagram, your branding. It's the vibe, it's the aesthetic. Everyone has an aesthetic. You need to stand out, and you stand out by being the best version of who you can be, your most truest self. So for me, I always found it cool. Like I really like that black aesthetic, that black hoodie, black laptops, having that camera, and I drew inspiration from people, titles, labels, Nems. I really like the music Nems. I like Central C. I like his aesthetic. I like that Starboy aesthetic. I like Batman. I like sort of the creator, founder, the videographer, the insider, luxury, power, certain names, feelings, aesthetics that it gives off. So when you do these three things and you have a good aura, you start going out, you start meeting people, you start really seeing like where you're overcompensating, and you start basically stripping off the layers, become your true self. You start working on your physicality, you understand that health is wealth, you get to a good low body fat percentage, and you get a hairstyle that suits you. You start building an aesthetic, your fashion sense, you start drawing inspiration from the people and the things that you fuck with. You have a strong product, you have a strong you basically. And when you have a strong you can market that yourself, the developed self, on Instagram and social media. Now, a lot of guys have this limiting belief where it's like, I haven't looks maxed myself, or I haven't worked on myself enough to start doing this. If you feel like your health is really good, and the wealth and the thing that you're working on for wealth is like you're slowly compounding and you're improving your wealth, you're improving your health, you know what to do for these two aspects, but your relationship side and your social side is sort of lost and in the dark, I do recommend you work on your relationships. Like you have to work on the things that are the constraints of your life. If your wealth and health are perfect, but your social life is dead, work on your social life, bro. Don't wait, because this will affect your happiness and well-being. If you don't work on the social side. You will feel lonely. You will feel isolated. What if you died 2 months from now and you didn't even attract a girl that you liked, or you didn't even have a friend you went to the gym with every single day or every single week? I don't go to the gyms with my friend every single day. I go every single week, or I hang out with my friends every single week to do weekly outings. But I'm saying that I'm asking you the question, will you regret not attracting girls and having good friends to go on adventures with every single week if you were to die 2 months from now? So ask yourself the question, understand your priorities, what you want to work on. Just don't wait for the perfect moment, because if you keep waiting, you're going to be one of those 50-year-old dudes that has not attracted any girls and now is like a multi-millionaire but just hasn't worked on his dating life. So understand there are multiple components to getting attractive, to glowing up. It's not just looks maxing. So basically everything I explained was just one piece of the puzzle here. Improving the product, you know, there's also exposing yourself, there's also dating apps, there's also building a powerful Vortex brand which attracts the girls into your life on autopilot, so you literally don't have to do anything. You just have to live your life, you know, and build a lifestyle which pulls people into your life. There's so many things to cover, and like I'm all over the place, but I've condensed everything I've learned into this whole video which I've made in the link in the description, which basically covers my whole process on how I became more attractive, how I built an attractive lifestyle, how I managed to build an elite social circle of men to travel the world with, to feel alive, to attract the girls I've always wanted. So if you guys want a complete walkthrough, then click the link in the description, or it will be in the comment section, and I will see you in that video. So yeah, peace.